Number one, does the president need to go ahead and restart the war to end this impasse in negotiations? Two, does he have more power now because the United Arab Emirates has left OPEC and sided with the United States?
Well, I think the UAE's decision to leave OPEC is a plus. Anything that weakens a cartel and allows market forces to work in the energy sector is a good thing. I don't think it'll have an immediate impact on this war. The fact is that the ceasefire has been a benefit to nobody but the Iranian regime. They had been getting pounded for 6 weeks, and we've let up on them for over 2 weeks now. I think we should resume the military action. I think we should certainly move to open the Strait of Hormuz to Gulf Arab oil commerce. You know, people are saying, well, the Iranians have dug out. They're getting missile launchers from below ground, more missiles, more drones. I say, great. I'm glad they've shown where their stockpiles are. Let's go back and using some more of our bunker busters, assuming we have enough left, and finish it off. There's some estimates, perhaps 25% of their drone and missile capabilities still exist. Let's get rid of it. Let's not waste time. This regime is not going to negotiate seriously. It's a regime of religious fanatics run by an authoritarian, militaristic dictatorship. That's why the regime needs to be changed. Negotiations are a waste of oxygen.
Well, you've been proven correct in that statement that you've been talking about for 15, 16 years about who the Iranians are. The Iranians probably have no better friends right now than members of the U.S. media, certain members, the New York Times among them, given their editorial, and then also Democrats in Congress. Here is Seth Moulton threatening Pete Hegseth. Take a listen.
Do you believe that the Secretary of Defense is guilty of war crimes?
Absolutely. I mean, he's clearly behind the operation to shoot all these boats in the Caribbean. Back in World War II, the Allies tried Nazi submarine captains for doing this exact same thing. And guess what the conclusion was? They got executed. Listen to that, Mr. Secretary.
Is it fair to criticize those who go on TV only to have their clips played over and over by Iranian Press TV and Russia Today?
Look, I think there's a lot of excess in the commentary, both by critics of the war and by proponents of the administration. These hearings that Hegseth has had over the past 2 days do not advance the administration's cause. I think they drive people away. And I think the criticism from some of the members of Congress is just purely ideological. There's a real issue here. The administration has not made the case for regime change yet. I think it's a very compelling case, and I'd love to debate some Democrats who don't favor it, because that's the only way you're ever going to bring peace and stability to the Middle East. The only chance. It's not the exclusive answer, but if you don't get rid of the regime in Iran, it will rebuild, it will refinance Hamas, Hezbollah, and the Houthis. It will restart its nuclear weapons program, and it will try and turn access to the Gulf through the Strait of Hormuz on and off like a light switch. I think the way ahead here is clear. The administration should be trying to build support for that position.
Yeah. Fair to say that we've invited numerous upon numerous Democrats on to come even have a conversation, much less debate you, and they have declined, which I think says an awful lot. Bloomberg, U.S. seeking to deploy hypersonic missile for first time against Iran. A reported range of more than 1,700 miles, although its exact capabilities are secret. It is designed to glide to its target at more than 5 times the speed of sound and can maneuver to avoid interception. Admiral, given the air supremacy that we enjoyed and the Israelis had over Iran and the ability to gain that and continue that, why would we tip our hands to the Chinese and the Russians who are watching by using a missile that I can't figure out why we would need?
Well, I'm not sure why we might think we would need it either. Certainly, we do have air superiority and the ability to strike deep into Iran and to get after the targets. Now, there may be something that the regime holds particularly dear that's difficult to get to, that this missile might be particularly well suited to use. And if that's the case, then we ought to use that weapon. Certainly, Admiral Cooper ought to recommend to the president that we use that weapon. So I don't know if there's a specific reason for it, but if there is, I think it's fine to go ahead and use it if it gets us something that we're looking for in terms of a military advantage.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.